Welcome to the Strong Women's Club, episode number 107.
This is the Strong Women's Club, where successful women share their behind-the-scenes stories of how they got to where they are today. Join us.
Hi, everybody. This is Edie Berg. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Today we have a different kind of a show. I had the honor of being interviewed for an amazing project. It's called Girls on the Road. And then naturally I had to have the two founders of Girls on the Road on this podcast. We were sitting, the three of us, in my tiny office at WeWork here in Israel. I had one mic and they were sharing one mic. So you'll hear a bit of back and forth and a little speaking a bit further away from the microphone. But the project is incredibly interesting, so it's worth listening in carefully. The women's names are Fernanda Moura and Tassiana Mello, and they're from Brazil. They're traveling all around the world, interviewing female founders and entrepreneurs, gathering their stories on video. It's actually not a podcast, it's a video. And then they plan to make a documentary from all of these interviews. That's basically all that I knew about them when they came here to my office to speak to me. And usually I have a lot more background about the people that I interview. But now I'm not so sure that it's always such a good thing. You know, sometimes I already know something about my guest, and then I assume in my mind that you, the listener, also already know that. So I kind of skip through things, or maybe I go too quickly through them, and I don't go into enough depth, I think. And that's a mistake. It's not as interesting. Details are what makes a person interesting. So in this interview, you and I are learning about Fernanda and Tassiana together. And I also filmed this interview for Facebook Live. So you can go to the Strong Women's Club Facebook page and see us there. And again, it's in my studio or office, and it isn't set up for professional video or even very good amateur video. I have a good camera, but it's really not the best seating and everything. You'll see. But it's still informative, and it's fun to see the people that you're listening to here. So you can jump over to the page and see this interview there also. Now, when they interviewed me, I talked a lot about women's empowerment and leadership and what it takes to enable women to reach their full potentials. What are some of the stumbling blocks? Why we even need women's groups and women's movements and podcasts, and what my mission is with the Strong Women's Club. So they interviewed me for about 40 minutes, I think, and it will most likely be cut down to a sentence or two. I don't know how long, but not very long. And I don't envy them all the editing that they have to do with the number of interviews that they're doing all around the world. But I'm very curious and very enthusiastic about this incredible project. Go Girls on the Road. I'm rooting for you, and they're doing an incredible job. They've been on the road for over a year. So now let's hear together their story. So, Fernanda Moura and Tassiana Mello.
Perfect.
Thank you so much for coming onto the Strong Women's Club. It's such a fun opportunity for me to have you in my tiny office here at WeWork.
Thank you for having us.
The reason why you're here is that you have just interviewed me for your incredible documentary that I know nothing about. And it's called The Girls on the Road. Here's the card, and I'll put the link in there. I don't know if it's going to come out properly, but so tell me a little bit about yourselves and the project that you're doing and what we just did now. Okay. And hold the mic up. Yeah.
So you have asked us if we had like previous experience on interviewing and doing all these things. Yeah. No. So our backgrounds are completely different. I'm originally a lawyer, turned into a business consulting, and then all of a sudden we decided to do this project, right? Yeah. And Tassi?
Yeah, my experience in marketing strategy.
Okay.
So also no experience whatsoever with, holding a camera and dealing with microphones and editing and so on and so forth. But we decided to jump, on this journey because it's such an important matter to talk about women entrepreneurs that let's do it. And we are doing it for the past year.
Wow. Okay. Incredible. So what's interesting about this is that you come from Brazil, right?
Yes.
And it's not just a movie. It's you're going all over the world and finding women who you find are interesting. And how do you know each other? To start off with, how did you meet?
Yeah, we met in São Paulo when we were working together. So we met there, and then we moved to the US, and it has been like 10 years already.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you were in São Paulo together, and you moved together to work in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah.
And then you started working on Girls on the Road.
No, not necessarily.
When we were in the US, we were studying. But then we came up with this project, and then we start like having this idea of going abroad, going all over the world and doing the documentary, because basically we would go to many events in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. You know how it is. We see lots of startup, it's a buzz, but when we go to events, it's pretty much like a more like male-led companies. Unless we go to really like female events, like pitch for women, and that's it.
Right.
And so we start like researching, and we focus on pretty much like 2 reports, like the Female Entrepreneurship Index and also the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor for the women edition. And we kind of read that in many cases, women don't engage in entrepreneurship because they don't see as many women as role models. So that's how our idea of doing this and going around the world. It's going to be 26 countries and 5 continents, and bringing ideas from business like tech business, traditional business, or social enterprises.
Incredible. This is it's incredible. And it makes me jealous because of course you get to also travel the world and you get to meet incredible people and mix all of those wonderful things. And it's a very creative kind of a project. And it sounds to me like you have made your ideal work, right? So how, I asked you before, but we talked about, money and sponsorship. And so who is sponsoring this project?
Yeah, we are self-funding. You know, I think that says a lot about how much we believe in the need of telling women entrepreneurs stories. So we did a crowdfunding at the very beginning.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
But, you know, we raised a little small amount, but it was awesome because it helped us, you know, with the equipment and so on and so forth. But we are self-funding all the way. We have the support of a production company in Brazil, in Sao Paulo, a PR company, a design company. They are supporting us pro bono.
Very good.
They're not charging us. So they are also led by women. I think it's important to say. But again, self-funding. And now they're gonna, you know, we have so much content. We have a preview of the documentary, a sneak peek, that now we feel much more confident to go after grants.
Yes.
And sponsors. So, you know, you're starting this phase.
Okay. I see. So now, so you're a nonprofit, organization.
Not even an organization right now. We are, that's the whole idea started as a personal project. It has evolved. Now we have so many ideas, you know, to put up a nonprofit or for profit. We haven't decided on that yet. But the only, you know, certain thing that we know is that we are going to keep working with women entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Use this content, you know, have other activities to really keep empowering women, young women mostly, you know, to really believe that they can achieve whatever they want if they want to. I think that's the whole message, the main message behind it.
Yes. Oh, it's so complicated, isn't it? There's so many things. So because we just talked about it and when I was talking to you and I just grabbed them and said, no, now that you're here, I get to have you in my little space here, which is actually kind of big enough, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the people that you've met.
Okay.
All right. So how did you start it? Like you started in Brazil and then,
No, we were in
you
the
were
US,
already in
the
San
US.
Francisco, excuse me.
So we started in the US, and then we went to Canada, Mexico, and then Asia. We were in 5 countries, China, South Korea, Japan, Malaysia, and Singapore. And then we went to New Zealand, Australia. And then we went to Brazil, Chile, Cuba, 5 countries in Europe, Norway, Russia, France, Portugal, and Germany. And then we went to Middle East, so Lebanon, Jordan, and then we came here.
Yes. So how much time do you spend in each country?
On average, 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yes.
So so you've been traveling for how long?
For 13 months, since July 16.
13 months, 15 days.
Really? Is it? How is that? How is the traveling part for you? What is that experience?
It is super fun, but super hard at the same time because we're constantly on the move, you know, and of course we have now everything's and like, sometimes people ask, oh, who is the crew? Who is helping you on that? And it's pretty much
This is the
interviewing.
crew,
This
and
is the
this
crew.
is
Yeah. We are interviewing. We
Right.
are booking flights. We are booking, you know, the Airbnb. We are doing everything. So it has been amazing. Meeting amazing people, seeing like amazing places, but of course it's a lot of work. So it's a mix of joy.
Do you have time to see where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah, we make time because, I mean, it's also important to understand a little bit of the culture of each country and to, you know, try to get some information of how culture and social aspects really impact those women. So yes, definitely, you know, we've been spending time, get to know the people, get to know the culture, visiting, of course. But as Fernanda said, it is a lot of work.
I can imagine it's very hard. I did some traveling in my life. like I spent 3 months in Africa just backpacking and another 3 months in India just backpacking. It was a while ago, but and all over
Africa,
India. And you are, of course, India. I mean, they're incredible, right? So I know that the feeling can be, sometimes it's exhausting, even if you're not doing anything and you're already working. Right. Because you don't have your own home. You don't have your own things. You don't have your own base to be really. Everything's changing all the time. Yeah. It's a very tiring experience. Very rewarding, of course. But so what kind of luggage do you have? Tell me about the luggage.
I'll let Fernanda answer that.
Yeah, because if I would allow her, she would have like I think 10 bags. So it has to be very, versatile. Yeah. It's not like we have high heels or, like many kinds of options.
Would you normally? At home?
No, not really. Okay. Yes. So we pretty much have like two pairs of shoes.
2 pairs.
Yeah. One kind of like outdoorsy. Yeah. And the other one's like kind of, can be like, hiking shoes, and another one like more normal shoes.
Okay.
Very light things. Like we have this, the Girls on the Road t-shirt, which helps.
That's
are
nice.
pretty much.
Yeah. So you're like in a uniform? Yeah.
Yeah. And then, I don't know.
Small. You have a backpack. You have like you have your camera.
Yes.
You have your cameras, and you have your big tripod, and you have a few cameras, right? Of your equipment and your microphones.
So we start the trip with the backpack you see that has like our equipment.
Just a regular
backpack, one each. Yeah. And then we had like a medium sized bag. It was like 13 kilos each. Yeah.
So very little.
Very little. Yeah. But then when we saw like this second phase of like when we enter like Middle East, and especially now we're going to India and Africa, we thought it would be easier to have backpacks, if we had to walk more. Now we change our medium bag to backpacks.
To bigger
so
backpacks.
It's like even like 11 kilos each.
That's all.
That's all. Like including shoes, clothes, and equipment, because equipment
including the equipment.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really, really basic.
Yeah. Yes.
Really.
So we have it's nice because sometimes we are asking to go to some event in each country we go, but then we have like that
outfit. You don't have to think about it.
So we keep using the same one, but because it's in a different place,
right.
It's
fine. Yeah. I have a friend here. Her name is Rebecca. She works on Zero Waste, and I also interviewed I can't remember her last name right now, who talks about zero waste. And they also talk about having only the clothes that you need, 13 items,
and it works.
Even when you live at home, and then, give them to Goodwill or donate them, and then get something else, but not have lots and lots of stuff. Yeah. So that's,
and most of the things that we start with, it's already gone because we have to wash every single week. Yeah. And sometimes not like we put let's put the white together and the colorful together. No, it's everything together. So
definitely
for
nothing
3
white.
months, each 3 months, we have to renew our t-shirts.
That's right. Yeah. But that's okay. Now let's talk about the people that I imagine that most of the experiences that you've had have been positive. Tell me about an unusual story, or an unusual location, of somebody that you interviewed.
Oh my God. Well, you're certainly, absolutely right in the first part. We've been meeting amazing women, amazing people in general, but these women that we've been meeting, they are very, very inspirational. And that's the key of the project, of course. Amazing places. I think we keep referring to places in Asia that we visited because it seemed at first so far away from our own culture. So for example, going to Japan, and maybe mostly China was very different, and basic things, day-to-day things that for us at first.
Like what?
Like going to the restroom and they still have pretty much the hole.
Oh, okay.
That's
so
the culture.
Squatty potty.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay.
That's the culture, and you have to adapt.
Yeah.
And, usually we think, oh my God, why don't I have a toilet, right? That's the first thing that comes to your mind because you're used to it. Yeah,
it's hard to read.
Well, that too. And we felt like, oh my, illiterates. Absolutely.
No, what I mean on the potty. I was talking about the toilet.
True. Yes, but that's also the language, and the potty things. Like after a few days, okay, that's how it is.
Yes,
and that's their culture. That's how they used to, and that's fine. you get used to. That's a big lesson that we've been getting from this
Remember-
13 months.
When we were in South Korea,
Yeah.
we rely a lot on Google Maps, right?
Yes.
So every time we go someplace, we put on Google and let's see how we get there. And the Google said, you take the metro and just stay on the subway and you will, keep going and it's the next station. But
Okay.
what happened is like everybody kind of like start like leaving the subway and we were the only one in the train.
Oh,
but
no.
when we realized, because when we say, okay, something wrong, then the metro is like
too
going
late.
like very slow, shutting the lights off.
Oh, no.
And we ended up of the parking lot of the subway. And then when the conductor like get out and see us, it was like a ghost. Like,
Yes.
I think in his mind was like, what are you doing here? Yeah. But he was very gracious.
very funny.
So it was like me trying to communicate with Google Translator and then he, like trying to, and then when we told that we were from Brazil, like many
Yeah.
times they say, oh, soccer, and like trying like very friendly. We felt like we were two little kids because he called our next interviewee
Okay.
and to see where we should be. And he took us to her.
Oh, that's
like
nice.
all the way into the streets and like here they are.
Really? So he was very helpful.
Very helpful. Even though we couldn't communicate like
Yes.
with words, we were like,
So that's so interesting. So you don't use like an instant translator on your phone or something like that to speak to people?
no, because we didn't have, I think at South Korea, we didn't have the pocket Wi-Fi or we didn't have the,
But he didn't speak English.
English,
anyway,
yes.
so
Yes. Right.
was,
Yeah.
we
So,
tried to translate. We would speak like Google Translate
Right.
and then speak
Yeah.
English and then translate to Korean.
Yeah.
So it was like the communication.
Yes.
Like, okay, it's
Yeah.
so-
more-
but they were helpful. So,
Yeah.
did you
And-
have any bad story? Anything not nice happen?
You
Just because it's interesting.
Yeah, no, we are super
You lost your bags?
optimists. Like
Yeah,
once,
we
but
did.
only
Oh, no.
one, only one.
once in
Like
13
considering
months?
that we are traveling like each
Lost?
2
Like
weeks.
forever lost?
No.
Okay.
Place for a
yeah.
couple of days.
We are super optimistic, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
so, we
that's
always
good.
like everything has been very good. But in Russia, when we are coming from France to Russia, our luggage was lost for like a couple of days.
Oh.
So, but then
With
again,
the equipment?
yeah. Yeah,
With
that's the
the-
one thing we that's a learning.
Yes.
Like never more like put the equipment because we
yes.
wouldn't be able to interview because our lights
I've learned
were in
that
the bag.
too. Yes.
Yes.
I've learned that too, that when I travel with my podcasting equipment, which I do pretty often, I keep it in my handbag. And so if my, and my makeup. So, and medicine, things that you really need, like that, that I know that I won't want to, that can't lose. I keep it with me, just in case, even for 2 days, you can't be without.
But we have the sticks for the lights and we think
Yeah.
we are not able to go
That's
in
the thing,
minutes.
they
So
always
we have
check
to
it.
it has to be in the bags. Right?
Yeah. So I always get checked. It's true. I get stopped for longer, but it's a small price to pay. I prefer that than anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the worst thing that's happened to you in 13 months, then you've had a very good trip.
Yes, and the
I'm happy
to
hear.
But that
Yeah.
was our
That was kind of our fault. Yeah, we were naive because we had our a wallet, a small wallet with a little bit of money and our driver license.
from Brazil.
And that was in our backpack, and
So
somebody
they-
opened it and took it. But I mean,
They would
naive
pickpocket.
because usually, you put it in a safer place.
Yes.
But that could have happened in any place in the
Yeah.
world, pretty much.
Yeah.
So yes,
That's
other
not-
than that, we've been very lucky. Actually, it's been amazing 13 months.
No equipment broken. Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
You're not allowed to
exactly.
say things like that. Okay. So let's talk about the women now. What are the differences in, I'm sure they're maybe hard to say, but just off the top of your head, what are the differences between the entrepreneur women or, from place to place? Entrepreneurials.
It is, it's very hard to say the difference because I think many of the traits that we see in women entrepreneurs around the world, it's pretty much similar, like extremely driven, focus, very into like we need to, network. We have to talk to people. We have to ask for advice. All the things that they repeat in one country, they're going to say like pretty much in many countries. What changes is the ecosystem, like the way they have their support system. If they have a supportive partner,
Right,
how
we
we were
spoke
speaking about it. And if they have resources in the country. So let's say when we were interviewing Cuba, it's very hard to find an internet company there because they barely have access to internet. Of course, they would not have. Like in Cuba,
I
we
didn't
would
know
buy
that.
like a 1 hour card and scratch to see the number. So we would go to like public space to have signal. so we could have access to internet.
Really?
So
people don't have in their offices or in their homes?
now they have more like in the offices, and it depends if you're a doctor. The government understand that you need to research, so you are allowed to have in your home. But like we stay in Airbnb, and the was like three generations, like the abuela, the grandmother, the mother, and the kid, and they would have at work, but not at home.
Really?
Because
Yeah.
because they worked for the government. So at work they would have internet. But
Probably also limited.
they still have exactly. So there is limits clearly, but for the overall population, they can only access internet, going to public spaces and connecting. So it's hard. It's really hard.
Incredible.
So when you find like a bunch of people together in a park, they are like seeking for internet.
That's what they're doing.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's so funny because that's such an interesting observation.
And it's interesting because, you could say that in an environment like that, for us that have internet at the tip of our hands,
Yes.
like how do you become entrepreneur nowadays, not having
Without
access to
it.
internet, right?
I can't even imagine.
But still, this is not stopping the women there or pretty much anyone there in Cuba. I think that says a lot about their attitude,
Yes.
their mindset.
So what kind of businesses in Cuba?
That's another issue on that specific country. The government has a list of categories of business that you can work with. So it's not necessarily like, okay, I'm going to open, I don't know, a laundry or a restaurant. No, it has to be in the government's list. So that's another hurdle that they have to, of course, to adapt. But again, this is not stopping them. So if the government thinks that, okay, right now we need more, I don't know, English teachers, German teachers. Okay, now you can open a school. So there is this limitation, but they make the most of it. That's the power of it. And women are also leading this movement. Okay, we cannot stay here and complaining and keep whining about what we don't have. We have to work with what we do have and make the most of it. That's a powerful lesson in it.
Incredible.
The one that we interviewed, there's like a kind of a seed of an internet-based company. So she wants to do like a delivery service with restaurants,
Food delivery.
Food delivery. So she operates pretty much through phone because there's no option, but the people can go to the square to download the menus from the restaurant that she works with. And then they would call. Like you have the menu, it will ask, order whatever you want, and then she will call the restaurant will, like all this, because
Crazy.
When they have more broadly access to internet, it will be, all integrated. But by now it's at least like it's the seed of what is going to be.
And she thought of it.
Yes.
She developed it. She is establishing this incredible, that's an incredible story.
Yeah. I think we're talking about Cuba, but that says a lot about other stories that we've been seeing around the world. And I think the main message is, these hurdles and the challenges, they are not stopping women of doing it. I think that this is so important to say because it's so much easier to stay like complaining or whining and say, I cannot do it. They're not, they're doing it. And we have to keep talking about these stories to show the world what women are doing. That's so important
Fantastic.
to say that.
It really is inspirational.
Yes.
Right. And as you say, the role models are incredibly important.
And they can come from different places. I'm sure that, someone in Germany or in Japan can learn something from a woman in Cuba and the other way around. So these stories matter and we have to keep telling about them.
Yeah. And especially when we were in Asia, we kind of like have this stereotypically idea that usually women will stay at home, they will not work, and when they get married, and it happens. Like South Korea and Japan was pretty much like this, but they were all saying when you are in China, things will be changed because pretty much the average group that we interview, they are like the one polished child.
Yes.
So they are super, super well prepared. Empowered. Like I know that people complain about this adjective, but it's like they were raised to be equal. They were raised to believe that they can do anything. They are very much into technology. They have amazing stories and business, and of course they say this is on the coast, on the big cities. It's not like this if you go into the countryside. But then if you go into countryside in many countries, can be Brazil, Russia, US. It's a completely different scenario. It's not only in China.
Yes, that's right. What about the Middle East? Tell me about our neighbors. We don't get to travel. I can't go to Lebanon, right? So tell me what it was like for you there. I'm curious to know.
Amazing.
Yeah, and
If
I
I
heard
could
it's very
summarize,
beautiful.
yeah, amazing people. Was super like an exciting experience, super friendly. We have lots of Lebanese in Brazil, so it was very close to our own culture. Women there, you have the different groups, like the Muslim, the Christians. They are really trying to do different things. So we have women in technology, we have women in biotech, and we have women that use the veil, women without the veil, and they are all also with this mindset that we have to show more women. We have to, keep telling their stories. In Jordan also was incredible.
Similar.
Yeah. We have an interview. One of the women that we interviewed, she has a biotech company that she started growing in Amman. And when she realized the entire world maybe not buy from her because she was in the Middle East.
What is she growing?
No, growing her business. She has a cosmetic company.
Okay.
And then face treatment, acne. And she now has a laboratory in France. Is expanding to Latin America. And, she has 4 kids. She says that she has to wake up very early, make sure the kids are good. And she's cooked. She has done everything that she needs to do. And then she runs the business. And she was like a powerhouse.
It was incredible, Lebanon, and maybe much more Jordan, because, and they are the ones who recognize they are still a very conservative country.
Yes.
So, yeah, and they are very outspoken. The women, they are very outspoken about that.
In Jordan.
In Jordan, we know we are still in a very conservative, traditional society, but we have to keep pushing. And, we are doing it. We are building our business in different areas. And they know they have to face much more social and cultural hurdles. But again, this is not stopping them. And they want to be role models for next generations. So
fantastic.
This is important to say, because when we think about Middle East, especially most Arabic countries, there are so many misconceptions and bias and prejudice against them that we saw, women with attitude, strong, having choices, being able to make their choices.
That's wonderful.
Of course, we cannot, there's other stories, of course, but, what we want with our project is, to show what women are doing. We know the hurdles. We know the challenges. And we have to keep working to, eliminate them. But in the meantime, we have to show what we are doing it. That's one way that we're going to eliminate the challenges.
Yes. There's a problem with religion. It's the same with the Jewish religion and women who are in very religious communities. I'm not secular like me, or the secular Muslims are the same, but the very religious communities, the women are having a hard time, breaking out. Now in Israel, they're having a lot of, more opportunities for Orthodox Jewish women to be business women. And they're incredible women. I mean, they have many children. They have hardships. They're usually not very well. I mean, they really deserve kudos for the work that they do. It's much harder. Their starting point is much more difficult than ours.
Yeah, we interview Shainti Babat. She runs Temeth. Temeth. I don't know how to.
Okay.
And she was telling us how she's building bridges between these women, ultra-Orthodox and big companies, because they're willing to work. They are very, open to grow and to learn. But of course, they have to observe their religion. So, but then there's this huge human power that can be utilized. And she's saying I'm not here to be the eternal bridge. I want to just construct the relationship. And once they're good to go, I leave them and then I move to another project.
Yeah, fantastic. That's really important work that she's doing. Where are you going from Israel?
We're going to India. So we are about to go. We are going to Mumbai and Bangalore because I think Mumbai would be nice. We were saying that Mumbai would be more like the financial, economic heart of India, and we're going to find a lot of traditional business, social enterprise, but then we cannot leave Bangalore as the tech hub of India.
Oh, India is an incredible hub for many businesses.
Many things. Yeah, we've never been there, so it's going to be our first time, and we are very excited to go.
Oh, it's wonderful. How long will you be there for?
2 weeks or so, more like 2 weeks, 20 days, 6.5.
Okay, and then how much longer do you have on this project, traveling?
Yeah.
Well, after India, we go to Africa. So 4 countries in Africa. We're going to Kenya, Ethiopia, Ghana, and Rwanda. And we wrap up the interviews in late October. And then that's after that, we start working on putting together, the documentary. Everything will be a full length documentary, the book, the web series, and other activities, regarding women entrepreneurship.
Amazing. So the movie should be out when?
That's
the first one. Sorry, the first one is the documentary.
Yeah, the documentary,
right?
Exactly. Our goal is to have by late March, early April 2018. So we have a few months to work on that.
Oh, good. I'm so excited to see it and very honored to be part of it.
Yeah. And people who are listening to us, and if they can go to our webpage on Facebook, The Girls on the Road, because you just posted a sneak peek of our first 5 countries, women, and telling about their stories a little bit so you can have a sense of it.
Okay, great. So what I'll do is I'll put a link in the show notes for the podcast, to your site, to your Facebook page. Yeah. It's a page, right? Yeah. And also here on this recording. Okay, so thank you. Such a pleasure to meet you both. I'm going to say your names again. I hope not to. I'm looking at the thing, but Fernanda Mua and Tassiana Mello. Thank you.
Thank you for
coming
us.
on to the Strong Women's Club. What a pleasure.
Likewise.
Now, isn't that an incredible project? These 2 women decided, with almost no backing at all, to work their way around the world interviewing interesting people. Amazing. Which made me think about what I'm doing here on this show. And it really isn't all that different. And, we're talking about the importance of role models, the awareness of, gender equality, mutual support, following your heart, working on something that you believe in, and really making a positive difference in the world, making the world a better place. So thank you again to Tassiana and Fernanda. And now I can actually say their names without looking at their card. What an honor to have you here. And I was happy I was able to grab you and have you on the podcast as well. And now let's talk about the work that we're doing, you and I together, and how we can help each other make the world a better place by supporting and learning together. And this podcast is brought to you by my mastermind programs. So let's hear about that now. Hi, this is Edie here, and I'd like to jump in to quickly remind you about the Strong Women's Masterminds that are starting this fall. There are only 8 spots available and only 2 groups being formed. So if you're at all interested, now is your chance to join. The Strong Women's Masterminds will help you plan your profit for the rest of 2017, ending it strong, plus give you a running start into 2018. You'll be organized, you'll be energized, and finally get that focus and accountability you need to be a successful, strong business owner. I have managed rehab departments. I have owned and ran an event and catering company, including culinary classes, for 10 years. I have been the executive administrator for a very exclusive high-tech company here in Israel. And this 25-year variety of experience and expertise are lovingly poured into making these mastermind groups fabulous. Plus, I've learned from and interviewed over 100 brilliant women all about how they grew into their success, how they overcame the natural frustration and overwhelm that comes with being a woman in business and being a leader. I have also lived and studied in different countries, and I know how hard it can be when you're trying to make decisions, big or small, on your business, and you feel like you don't really have anybody to ask or anybody who really gets you. And I know what it's like to be an entrepreneur, to deal with friends and family members who love you, but they have no idea what you're talking about when you need advice about your business. And I can tell you that even my own loving, wonderful partner never even opened my website or listened to my podcast until I had him trapped in the car with me, and I made him. So this is for you. A mastermind is for you. If you have been feeling like you need some new eyes on your business, you would like to help others and also receive the knowledgeable support of other women matched to you for your mastermind group. If you are tired of the slow pace and you are eager to get your business wheels turning into a turbo speed and finish off the year brilliantly, then the masterminds are for you. If you're interested at all, as I said, there are only 2 small groups forming, and they're only for 3-month programs also, so they're a bit shorter than usual, so the investment on your part is smaller also. I'm so excited about the response that I'm getting about these groups, so if you're at all interested, please include yourself. I cannot wait to meet you and to start working together on your own success story. So we have 4 more spots left in the mastermind group for women who already have businesses. And the group for beginner entrepreneurs is still being formed. So if you're at all interested, now is the time to get going on the end of 2017 and organizing 2018 so that it will start strongly. Have a great, strong day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here. Litraot.